Hi everyone, welcome back to another video on the K30 here. This is of course from Redmi, which is Xiaomi. It's a sub-company now, sister company you could say. And this phone, I do believe, is a good phone. Just like my review, a lot of you seem to have skipped all the positive things that I mentioned about this phone, that there is a lot on here that is actually very good. You've got to factor in that price, and what we're getting for this phone is really quite decent. And before I focus on that battery life between 60 and 120 Hertz, I want to point out a couple of things. So people asking about the notifications, the icons, they are showing at the top there, as you can clearly see. You just have to enable it in settings now. Since MIUI 10, there was one point that Xiaomi decided they would auto hide them, the notifications, that they didn't want us to see them. And later on, they gave us that option that they would actually be shown, and they're there. So that's not too much of a problem. Now, has the performance improved? Now, we did have that patch from Xiaomi that said it was addressing the system lag, but unfortunately it is still there, but you just really see it with those animations. And I know a lot of you Xiaomi fanboys, said you need to go into developer options and reduce the animation time, and that will fix the problem. The thing is, I review phones out of the box, and if you're unfamiliar with my videos, I point out all the good things, but also the bad things I see as well. And it's just something that Xiaomi needs to sort out. The software does need addressing, but for the most part, it is actually very smooth and fluid. Now, because this is the Chinese ROM, things will be a little bit different. So DRM level 1 cert will hopefully be coming through with the global ROMs. We have to wait and see there, and then wait and see with the performance. So camera API 2 support is level 3. And a lot of you were asking, why didn't I show any Gcam ports? Well, I did install a couple, but it keeps crashing with the night mode shot. Okay, you take a photo, it looks like it works, and then the app crashes. So that's why I haven't bothered with it yet. We need to wait for someone in XDF forums to give us a stable release. Hopefully that'll be coming soon. So onto that battery life. So first up, I did my own test. This is 200 lux. I calibrate the screen too, and just use it, okay? Most of the time this was on wireless, a good 70% of the time, 30% on data. And I got 11 hours and 3 minutes. That did involve some heavy gaming as well, which you can see right here. That's when the battery life just dipped right down, because gaming does burn through it. Even at 60 Hertz, it does take a toll on that battery. But an excellent result, really good battery life if you sacrifice, of course, and halve your refresh rate. So I wanted to do a fixed battery life test here as well. So it's the exact same test repeating over and over. This is PC Mark's battery life test. 10 hours and 44 minutes, very similar to my own result. Again, this is really good. And then what happens when you keep it at the default 120 Hertz? This is where the battery life is not so good. Now, this is to be expected. Double the refresh rate. That's burning up a lot more energy here. So we lose around 25 to 30% of your battery life. And I believe it's worth the sacrifice. Keep it on 120 Hertz. After all, that is what you are paying for here with this phone. Now, the screen here, you can probably see that what I pointed out, that issue just with the IPS panels, I'm seeing a lot. Really, since the teardrop notches and water drop notches, with the IPS screens, you're going to get a bit of this darkening. Okay, you can probably see right now, when I hold it at a certain angle, just around that pill notch, it's a little bit obvious there, but for most people, it's not really going to bother them. You get a bit around the corners here, and really, you're only going to see this shading or this dimming around the edges just really on bright images. So that's where it's going to be an issue for some people. Now, the Fingerprint Reader, that is still a little slow. At that time, it wasn't actually too bad. You can see it's just not the quickest, and this is a very minor nitpicking thing that I believe that Xiaomi can improve that performance, because I've seen the same goes for the UI. The same chipset, the Snapdragon 730G, run a UI very fluid and quick. So it's, to me, just optimization. The ROM needs to mature. MIUI 11 is new. So onto gaming performance, critical ops. You guys asked me to test this one. This does support 120 frames per second, matching our refresh rate. Now you can see right here that it does say target frame rate 120 frames per second. So this is one of very few games that is going to run at 120 frames per second. It's also got quite a light graphical engine. So this chipset doesn't have any problems delivering those 120 frames per second. So let's have a look at the performance of it very briefly. So the frame rate is, as expected, just super smooth here. This is really good. Reminds me of the Zeus Republic of Gamers phone. And as I mentioned, this is a very light title, so the chipset really has no problems running this. See if I can get this guy. No, he got me first. All right, so let's just round up my thoughts now after a week. That the hardware is definitely there to me. I mean, the build quality is decent, very good 3.5mm output. Cameras can produce very good daytime stills, and that's pretty much every camera now. Low light, a little room there for improvement. The fingerprint reader is a little bit slow at times. Definitely that needs to be improved. And the main thing for me is that system performance is a little bit laggy at times. Now, Xiaomi clearly knows about this because their last firmware update on this phone mentioned system lag. Okay, so that was just one of the problems that they do need to address. And once they fix that, so it's all down to the software, if they can just iron out all those bugs, improve the system speed, because I've seen the Snapdragon 730G actually perform really well and very quick in UIs. Well, that's just at 60 Hz, but I believe even at 120 Hz, the chip has that potential to run the UI just fine. I mean, it's just a full HD display. It's not like it's running a 4K display or anything like that. So when you factor in the price, what you are getting, the very fast 27 watt charging as well, and the fact that it's got NFC, it really does tick a lot of boxes here. It's just, come on Xiaomi, improve the software, and I'm sure they probably will. Just give them a few months, then we've got a really good phone. Another winner, I believe, on our hands here, especially factoring in that price point. So thanks so much for watching this just follow-up video of my K30 review. Please do check the original review for all the in-depth information, camera samples, video samples, and things like that. And I do hope to see you back in the next review and video coming up from me, which will be the LG G8X. That is the dual screen one here that I have been working on towards my final review of that. And that'll be coming up in a few days. Bye for now.